In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Obi Wan Kenobi for the Saga line, and this is the one that is to accompany the Jedi Starfighter that was also released back in 2002, which I do hope to get that vehicle at some point. And similar to the Mace Windu I reviewed previously, I'm pretty sure this was the very first Obi Wan Kenobi I ever owned back in the day. Of course, I did get this back in Christmas of 2002. I did lose it a couple years later. I think I still have this robe actually lying around. When I lost him, I recall keeping the robe, and I have used it for action figures since then. I would have to go back and look at all my accessories and see if I still have it, but I'm pretty sure I do from my original. And I had it from 2002 to probably around like 2011, 12 again. And then finally have them reunited in my collection over a decade later. So this has been a 22-year-old story at this point. I'm glad to finally add them back in. It's a pretty nice Obi-Wan. Obviously, it's not the best of the best that you can get, but it's pretty good. The robe here is kind of bulky, but the figure itself is pretty nice. As I said, this is the one that's to accompany the Jedi Starfighter that Obi-Wan, of course, uses in Attack of the Clones, and it does have accompanying accessories to go along with that. And I'll show what those are all about here in a minute. But first, we'll look at his package here. So yeah, slashing lightsaber attack. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Jedi Starfighter pilot, Attack of the Clones, Saga package. It's kind of yellow, similar to Mace, who I reviewed previously. Our image of the character there. Figure number 36. I don't think this was the first Obi-Wan released in the Saga line, but this was the first one I got back in the day. Description about him being scene specific there, and then showing off some of the accessories and how it interacts with the Starfighter there. It's very nice. And the other figures featured, I never owned that Chewbacca and I never owned that Han Solo, but I do recall seeing them in stores quite frequently back in 2002 and 3 and 4. I think they were kind of peg warmers at the time. And this is still collection 1 there. So let's take a closer look at this guy. So the head sculpt's pretty good. It's convincing Ewan McGregor. Obviously, there's many more better portraits out there, but this is still pretty good. And he does have his flight gear attached to his head there, and it is molded into his head. It's not anything you can remove, but that's all right. And yeah, for the longest time, this was the only Obi-Wan I had in my collection. I do have a lot of fond memories with it. So we'll take this robe off real quick, because I think it hides a lot of his action features. And like I said, it is a very bulky robe. I imagine if you put him inside the Jedi Starfighter, you would have to take it off. There it is there. Very thick material. And you kind of see he's in an action pose there. His robes are pretty typical. And I imagine, yeah, you could probably fit him decently inside the Starfighter there. Kind of give him in a sitting pose. I could tell by the way they made his tunic here. It's meant to accommodate for that. Probably would fit in his Episode 3 fighter as well. I'll have to break that out and see how that would look. And I have been meaning to make a video for the Anakin and Obi-Wan's Starfighter here soon. See his belt there. And of course he does have the peg in the back. The action feature, it's pretty gimmicky. He's just moving his arms up and down. He does have the magnet in his hand there, which obviously it does accommodate for the lightsaber. And I guess that's pretty much all you do. It does stay in his hand pretty good, which is nice. So in terms of his articulation, he does have a swivel at the neck, and it is technically swivel shoulders, but they're tied in with the action feature. So if you do something like this, it's going to kind of skew it a little bit. You can do something like that even. That is an option for you. And then he does technically have swivel biceps, I guess. Then swivel wrists. No waist articulation, it looks like. At least it's stationary for me. And then he does have swivel hips. And then that's it for articulation. And a very plain expression there. The paint looks pretty good though. And in terms of his accessories, he does have signature lightsaber, which I'm pretty sure this is specific to Attack of Clones. Has a nice metal look to it. And like most of the other Jedi at the time, the blade is removable. I'm pretty sure the blade broke on my original back in 2002 or 3. Nice blue blade. But he holds the best in this hand here. Then for his flight gear here. So to be honest, I've never quite figured out exactly what this small accessory was for. I would assume it's supposed to be like some binoculars that you can hold on to. But obviously the way his arms are, he can't really hold anything up to his eyes or his head at all. So I've never quite figured out exactly what these are or what they're meant for. So if you happen to know, let me know in the comments exactly what it is. And of course, there's nothing advertising it on the package as to exactly what it's used for. At least nothing that's apparent to me. That is an accessory. Then he has this radar dish here, which is removable from this piece. And then as you can see on the package, you'll be able to fit this on the Jedi Starfighter next to the R4 unit. And it's during that scene when he's trying to reach out to the Jedi Council, I think, and sending this message to Coruscant. It is kind of hard to get on that spot there. It just stays in enough to where it'll stay into place, but it feels like it'll break on me if I try to force it anymore. And then you have this here, which I think is part of the flight gear, or of course it's part of the flight gear, but part of the landing gear. At least that's what it looks like to me. And not much you can do with it. It's just a stationary accessory. And it doesn't show anything on the package at all. Just that it can hold the radar dish. But that's pretty much it for this Obi-Wan. I will bring out his TVC counterpart here. We can do the comparison. You can see the huge difference between the two. I do have this Obi-Wan reviewed on the channel from almost 2 years ago now, if you want to check that out. But for being a decade apart in age, I think they look really good. And this original from 2002 still holds up really nice. Saga line, they get plenty of Attack of Clones Obi-Wan's released. At least 3 or 4 that I can think of. So would I recommend this Obi-Wan for your collection? I would if you want some variety, or of course if you have the Jedi Starfighter, this is an essential Obi-Wan to add to your collection. I'm sure the TBC figure would fit in it as well, with all the articulation and the hinge hips and all that. But you know, this one has the flight gear, he has the radar dish, so this is the Obi-Wan meant for that fighter. And of course, if you want some more variety for your collection, this is a great one. Another very affordable action figure. You could probably find this for $10 or less in most places. And even if you go to your local comic book store, if they have a huge selection of figures, there's a good chance that they're going to have this one on shelves. And it's a very nice Obi-Wan. Of course, it's a special one to me since it was the first one I ever got. And it's a 22-year history now. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support. And check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.